Hello and welcome to this wind down yoga session with me, Katie. Thank you so much for logging back in again. So this session is aimed at making sure that you're ready for a really good night's sleep. So you can use this in combination with any of the meditations or pranayama exercises that you like to do before bed. So I have a bolster with me. You can use a rolled up towel if you need to. You can use a couple of blocks if you need to as well. And we're just going to start off by sitting. So finding a seat that is comfortable for you. Sitting nice and tall. Just making sure you have a nice, relaxing environment. Turning off anything you need to turn off. Maybe putting on some nice, relaxing music or lighting some candles. Just making this a space where you feel nice and relaxed. Taking a few deep breaths in and out through the nose. Allowing yourself to start releasing any tensions in the body. And just noticing where they are. Maybe you might be clenching your jaw. That's you, just relaxing that space. Maybe you have the shoulders up by the ears. If that's you, just melt those shoulders down. Just taking your time, setting up for your practice. Whenever you're ready, just opening the eyes. We're going to make our way lying down. And we're going to keep the hips elevated, so you can elevate the hips onto a bolster, onto some blocks or a rolled up towel or a cushion. And taking the hips on top, lying the back down on the mat and just taking the legs up towards the sky. And you can take a few moments here, you can rest the hands by your side. You can take a few moments here. Maybe bring the arms over the head, take hold of opposite elbow. Maybe the hands are by the side. Or maybe like one hand to the belly, one hand to the heart. And just enjoy that feeling of the breath entering and leaving the body in this pose. Feeling the blood start to rush down the legs in this gentle inversion. So just enjoying this pose for a few more breaths. And then gently hug the knees in towards the chest. You can take the block away from underneath the hips. And bring the arms out to the side like a cactus, hugging the knees in towards the chest. You can gently bring the knees up over to one side. And gently bring them back to the center and over to the other side. And then gently back. So just noticing how that feels for your body. Try to keep the knees roughly in line with the navel as they come over instead of too low down this way or too high up this way. Just noticing what feels comfortable for you. Now if you like, in this pose, we're coming into our twist, you can gently take the legs into your eagle variation if that is in your practice, if it feels nice for your body. You can take a block in between the knees as you come over, or indeed you can use a block underneath as a bit of extra support there. We're going to turn the gaze, looking in the opposite direction as the knees as we come into this gentle twist. And hold it here for a few deep breaths. As you hold here, you may feel that you don't need the block, you can take it away. But wherever you are, we try to keep both shoulders nice and flat to the floor. So if the knees come lower and then this shoulder starts to lift up, then it's okay, just lift the legs up, bring the shoulder back down. Taking a few more deep breaths in this pose. This gentle spinal twist. And then slowly find your way back to the center. We take our time working into the other direction, gazing over the opposite shoulder, and again just setting yourself up with any props that you need in this pose. We're taking a few nice deep breaths here. Again, just noticing any areas of tension in the body and just starting to feel those relaxed. Hugging the knees to the chest and gently coming back into the center. And just take a moment here before we find our way up to sitting. So you can take your time, any way that you like. And from here we're working into our diamond shape pose with the legs. So the legs are a little bit wider, feet further away from the body than in our usual Katasana, our butterfly pose, which is more like here. So taking the feet away from you. And if you like, you can take a block underneath the feet if you want to make it more challenging, or if you want to make it more comfortable, take the block underneath your hips or sit on your bolster. So just setting this posture up any way that you like. And we're going to start to fold forwards, bringing the head towards the feet. You can relax the hands, palms facing up as we let the head drop, hanging nice and heavy. Don't worry about rounding through the spine here. Just feeling that neck nice and relaxed. If it's more comfortable for you, you can start piling up some blocks so that we have a bit more support for our head. And maybe this feels a bit more comfortable for you. So just making the pose work for you in any way. And allowing our body to surrender in this posture. Letting go of any tensions from the day. And taking a few deep breaths here. Now starting to walk the hands over, keep the legs as they are. We're walking over towards our right knee. And we're just dropping the head towards the knee as we're coming into this gentle twist. Now I like to have my hands, palms facing up and a bend in my elbows so that I don't feel tempted to pull on anything or make my body go any further than it's ready to go. So just relax my body and let it fall into this pose at a level that is comfortable. And knowing that I can support myself if I need to with any props. Gently find your way back through the center, coming into the other side. And again, just allow the head to relax down towards that left knee. So again, we're not pulling, just keeping those arms nice and relaxed as we fold into this pose. Taking a few breaths here. And then gently finding our way back to the center. And then slowly making our way back up, coming to sit. Now for our next pose, we're working into our child's pose. It might be that you feel more comfortable with a bolster, and I'm using it underneath the hips to help lift my hips a bit higher, and then it can support from the hips all the way along my torso as I work into this stretch. You want to take the knees about as wide as the mat, and then we reach the arms forwards. Of course, you don't need to use a bolster in this, so if you don't have one, then don't worry. Just let the head gently relax down, and just allow the bolster to just take the weight of the body. And as we push the tailbone down, we get a really nice release into the lower back. So taking a few moments, just relaxing in this shape. And then we're gently coming over to one side, reaching the right hand out to the side, bringing the left hand on top. And again, just letting the head gently relax down, supporting the pose however you need. Maybe you'd like a block underneath the head. And then gently find your way back to the center. We make our way through the other side. Right hand on top of the left. Squaring off the shoulders, just let the head hang nice and heavy. Just take a few deep breaths here. Enjoying some time in this pose. Feeling that stretch all down the side. And then gently come back to the center. And find your way back up to sitting. Take a deep breath. Next we're working into our rabbit pose. So you're going to take this to one side. For the next pose, we're working into our rabbit pose, and we're also going to give our feet a nice stretch. Quite often we neglect stretching out the arches of the feet, so this is a lovely one. It can feel like quite an intense stretch, so just see how your body feels with it. So I'm having the toes tucked under and pushing the hips back towards the heels. Maybe this is enough for me. I can already feel that working into the arches of the feet. Otherwise, maybe I start to take the weight back, pushing the hips forward, working into the arches of my feet here, with the toes tucking under. So you can take a few moments enjoying this stretch, opening out into the feet. Knees stay plugging down onto the floor. Good, last breath, lift the chest. And release. So next we're working into our rabbit pose, which is an amazing one to help you get a good night's sleep. I'm starting with my knees hip distance apart, my toes are tucking under, and I want to bring the crown of my head as close as I can down to the floor by my knees, so I need to really round through my spine to get there. Have a look first and then we'll do it together. I hold onto the backs of my heels, I round the spine, bring the head as close as I can to the floor, and then lift up the hips, so I'm rounding through the back. And when you're there, you can just close the eyes, bringing your attention to the third eye, meditating in this space, setting yourself up, rounding the back, head to the floor, lifting up the hips. Closing the eyes here and taking a few moments to meditate in this pose. And then gently release, finding your way out of the pose, taking the seat to one side and extend the legs forwards. We are finishing off our practice with our shoulder stand sequence. And there's going to be 3 poses to this one, so have a look first and then we'll do it together. Your option 1 for your shoulder stand is we take the legs up. You can prop under your hips, same as before if you like that variation. Or we're pushing through the hands, lift the hips up, taking the hands to the lower back, and it's more of an angled pose here. If you can go higher, bring in the hands more towards the shoulder blades as you lift the hips up, and then try to find a straight line from the toes all the way down to the chin. So that's pose 1. Pose 2. We start to bring the feet over the head. If the feet don't touch the floor, we just keep supporting the lower back and we bend the knees towards the head. Otherwise, if the feet can touch the floor or your bolster, coming onto the tops of the feet, and you can extend the hands behind you, interlace the fingers. This is pose 2. Pose 3, then we start to lower down, bringing the feet all the way to the floor. You can push through onto the elbows and bring the top of the head down. And then we release and find our Shavasana. So set your posture up. Now when you're in these poses, you want the head to be really nice and neutral. You're looking up towards the ceiling or to your toes, or you close the eyes, focusing on the third eye. Maybe you like to meditate here, maybe you like to visualize a symbol, see what comes up for you. Some people have quite a bony upper back here into the spine, so if you want to, you can put a towel down underneath for a bit more comfort there. Otherwise, finding your pose, lifting up, and taking a few breaths here. Whenever you're ready, start to take the legs up and over. And then gently taking the hands flat down to the floor, palms down, rolling through vertebrae by vertebrae, pushing up onto the forearms, bringing the crown of the head down to the floor. Take a deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. Lifting up the head and then slowly releasing. Find your way into your Shavasana. And just take a few moments here, taking as long as you need in this pose. Just finding that neutral breathing and inviting every single part of your body to relax a little bit more. Starting from the crown of your head, working all the way down to the toes, just in your own time. Now remember, you can stay here for as long as you need to, or whenever you're ready, just gently hugging the knees in towards the chest. Moving onto the side of your body and gently push yourself up, coming to your comfortable seat. Thank you so much for joining me, and I really hope you have a great night's sleep. Namaste.